Hello and welcome. Today we're going to review the Propel Navigator Cloudmaster. This is another common drone that you could find in big box retailers such as Target, Walmart, Toys R Us, etc. for a reasonable price. It has a few nice features such as altitude hold, Wi-Fi FPV streaming, video, pictures, and so forth. So let's take a look at this. And now the quadcopter comes in this see-through box here that details all the features, such as the 2.4 gigahertz precision digital remote control. You could see you could see the same quadcopter, but it comes in a different color, red. This model right here came in like a brownish color. It mentions here that it has unlimited replacement parts for 1 year. So that may be good to get extra batteries for this, because the battery, it lasts a good amount of time, but you may want spares. And then here you have the red model shown in the back and listing all the things that it has. And so basically you pull everything out of the main box shell like this, and we'll start out with the little baggies here. It has one baggie here that contains the charger, which is this this plastic piece here that works with this USB cable here, and then the battery, which is a 750 milliamp 3.7 volt battery, which gives it around 10-minute flight time. Then you've got this USB adapter so that you can put the SD card and into your PC and edit the video. Now the interesting thing is that this didn't come with an SD card, so you would have to supply your own SD card. That's kind of interesting. It didn't do that. It's a little bit of a con there. Screwdriver so you can replace the propellers. And baggie number 2, we have spare propellers, which is pretty standard for these quadcopters, and you would screw them in if you ever had a damaged propeller. And then here you have your paperwork. You have your manual, which is pretty straightforward and detailed, and tells you about all the features and special functions. And you have your QR code here for either the Android or the iOS app, so you can Wi-Fi FPV, and then some extra paperwork here about the Cloudmaster and technical support and ordering extra parts and whatnot. Next, we'll move on to the transmitter. Now the transmitter has this little iPhone cutout here, like a placeholder for the iPhone. So your cell phone basically, latches onto here. This is not big enough to hold a tablet nor a mini tablet, but you could put a fairly good sized cell phone in there. And this transmitter takes 6 AA batteries right there, and it has a little mount there for your cell phone. You can remove it if you want, it's optional. And then underneath you basically have your antenna. You have your typical controls, your throttle, rudder, trims, on-off switch, and when you turn it on, there's a bit of a light there. It tells you if it's bound or not. You have your 3 speed settings. Then you have your auto launch, auto land button. So you push this to start it and take off, and then you can push it again and it'll land. And then you've got your camera button, camera video button, and your stunt button. And now, last but not least, the star of the show here, the Cloudmaster. It's a pretty good looking, standard looking quadcopter. They're not brushless motors. This is not a GPS quadcopter. It is an altitude hold quadcopter with a camera. Now the camera quality is not the best. I'm not even sure if it's HD. It's probably standard definition. And you can see there by the size, it's not a very big camera, and you'll see the quality right now in the flight footage. But it is a stable, decent flyer, and you do get a decent range with the transmitter. And so we're going to quickly set it up here to show you the startup process with the app, and then we'll fly it around a little bit. So first we'll start out by just loading a standard SD card in here. As I said earlier, this doesn't come with an SD card, so you can just put one in here. I think this supports up to 32 gigabyte SD card, so we just pop it in here into this slot right here. Pop that in so you can record onboard footage, clear footage. I think you can record video using the app and not the SD card, but it's recommended that you pull video from the SD card because you'll get better quality footage. Next, you put the 750 milliamp 3.7 volt battery in. So all you do is you just snap it in. This is a proprietary battery, so that's kind of a con, and you can't easily, you know, get these in the store or anything like that. You would either have to special order them or you know, go to the Propel website and order some, because these are proprietary. But anyhow, you snap it in like this, and as soon as you snap it in, you will start seeing these lights flashing. And so now we have the SD card, the battery's in, so we put it on a flat surface like that. So then next, you turn on the transmitter, like so. You'll hear a beep. Its flashing pattern will change a little bit, but you still haven't bound yet. You have to put the throttle up and down. You'll hear a couple of beeps. And then once the lights go solid, you are bound. See, the lights are all bound. The next step is recommended that you calibrate the gyros, and that's basically you take the throttle and rudder and you put them down and to the right, and you should hear a little beep and see a temporary flicker of the lights, and then they'll go solid again. That means the gyros are calibrated, and this is done preferably on a flat surface, while the quadcopter's on a flat surface. And you just hold them down and to the right, like so. Here we go, right? There you go. So we just calibrated the gyros. So now the quadcopter's bound, calibrated. It's got its SD card, battery. It's almost all ready to go. Now you just have to connect the Wi-Fi FPV. So you just go into the FPV settings here, Wi-Fi, and you pick Propel Skyrider. There's no Wi-Fi password. So once you see it connected, you open the app, and in the App Store you will see, you do a search for Propel Skyrider, and you'll see that icon there, and that's essentially the app. So you launch the app, and once you launch the app, you just hit start here, and you should be getting a live feed from the quadcopter here. Now the cool thing about the app has a few extra features which are pretty cool. Well, first off, in the main menu you have all these help documentation here. It tells you how to use the app and what all the icons mean. You have settings here that you can change, right hand mode, preview in 720p, but I'm not sure if that's accurate because I think this is a VGA standard definition camera, so that might be interpolated or expanded to be HD, but it's not a true HD output. And then of course you have your feed here, but within this you can do VR. You can fly this true FPV mode. You can get cell phone goggles that you can buy, and then once you hit this VR mode right here, this little VR icon, it essentially splits the screen in two. So you can put these in VR goggles, and then you can turn that off. You can actually control this quadcopter using the app. Right here, if you push on, you have your virtual controls here, and you can trim it. You have your throttle rudder. You can calibrate the gyro with that little icon. You can auto launch, auto land with that icon. You can control this with the accelerometer of your phone. So you can actually hit this little icon, and if that's on, if you tilt your phone forward or backward, the quadcopter will fly in that direction. If you tilt it to the side, it'll fly to the sides. So you can actually control this either with the virtual controls or the accelerometer. Or you can turn it off. You can flip the screen, whether you want to see it upside down or not, depending on your VR goggles. This little lock icon, I believe it might be headless mode. You've got your rates here, which are 30, 60, and 100. For the speed. You've got access here to your SD card, photos, your gallery, whatever you've stored. You can go back, and then you've got you can record video from here, and then you can record or take pictures with this icon, and then this will allow you to go back to the main menu. So that's basically it. Pretty standard and straightforward. The transmitter's controls will give you longer distance and range, and since they're physical sticks, it's a lot easier to fly as opposed to just using the virtual controls on the cell phone. But in theory, if you wanted to, you can just take the quadcopter and your cell phone in your pocket, and that would be enough to fly this around. You don't actually need the transmitter. That's optional, but it is recommended to have this set up right here, where you have your transmitter, and then you use the app just as an FPV preview, because you will get longer range and better accuracy with the controls. And that's essentially it. So we're going to fly it around now. You'll see this fly around, and you'll see onboard footage, and hope you enjoy.